Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, with skyrocketing inflation, some families that are living paycheck to paycheck are now really feeling the pinch. We'll talk to the CEO and president of a local nonprofit that's making a difference. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. So all of us are feeling the impact of inflation, but if you are a family and you're living paycheck to paycheck in DFW, you are really feeling it. To talk about that today, Benaye Wadkins Chambers. She is the CEO and president of Crossroads Community Services. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So when we talk about serving your clientele, who are we talking about? What families are we talking about?
So I think you mentioned it. We're talking about the families that are living paycheck to paycheck, which are what we consider the working poor. I have a job. I might have 2 jobs, but it's not enough money to really make the ends meet. So I'm trying to figure out how to pay rent, pay bills. If I get hit by any crisis, if hours are cut back for any reason, I'm suddenly in a position where my dollars are tighter. And unfortunately, one of the first things to go is either medication or food.
Yes.
And so because we don't want people to stop taking their medication, we want to encourage buying your medication and then getting support for your food where you can.
And you guys have been around for a while.
We have. So we actually started as a ministry in First United Methodist Church downtown. Some people might remember Crossroads from being over the top of the stew pot. But in 2015, we became our own 501c3. And then in 2019, we had the great benefit of moving into the warehouse in South Dallas, once occupied by NTFB. And so right now we're celebrating 21 years of service to the Dallas County families and communities.
And you came in right about the time of the pandemic, didn't you?
Yes, not the best time to change jobs, right? Everybody's like, what are you doing? And so I said, I'm doing the right thing for me and really the right thing for the organization too. So yes, 2020 ended. I started March 2021. And we all still had that crazy perception, right? That this is coming to an end soon.
Sure, right.
No, it's not.
And how did that impact the people you serve?
So the COVID crisis or the continuation of it?
Well, all of the above.
Well, I mean, the reality is the folks that we were serving had already been experiencing and sadly used to this lifestyle of scarcity. The real impact happened with the folks who were in that low, moderate income. They really were paycheck to paycheck, or maybe every other paycheck to paycheck, and suddenly no job, no income of any kind. Those were the folks that we began to see really creating an influx and driving the lines long to now need food. And that need just hasn't gone away as people went so long without work, are not returning to work for a myriad of reasons. And even if they are, they're so behind, Jeff, on their bills, on medical bills. If they got sick at all, they're still having to pay for those medications, and all of those things just piled up. So even though I may be back to work, it's still not enough to cover my food needs in many cases.
And you're passionate about research. Tell us about that.
Well, when I came to Crossroads, I was aware that they had been doing research for about 10 years. Our partners are a group called CARE, made up of 2 economists, educators from University of Dallas and UT Southwestern, Dr. Tammy Leonard and Dr. Sandy Pruitt. And they approached my predecessor and said, we really want to get to the root cause of what drives people to a pantry, but how we actually solve the problem. we can't just keep distributing food. What is the solution? And so they've been doing that research for 10 years with various funding opportunities. And we pretty much have the first level of how we get to some solution done. And that's what's really exciting about the work at Crossroads. In addition to our pantry and our distribution, um, the research really is the fuel behind who we are and how we're working to move families from food insecurity to household sustainability.
And the nutritional quality of the food is important to you.
Yes. So, our families are going to come in and they're going to get all the fruits and vegetables they can take with them. So prior to COVID, they were shopping in a grocery store type experience. And at the end of getting their shelf stable items or their frozen goods, they would be able to pick whatever produce they wanted and how much they thought their family would take. Now they get a crate based on the size of their family, but that's key. So we often think of folks who are food insecure as no food. That's not actually what food insecurity means. Food insecurity is the inconsistency of nutritional food. So frozen proteins that are fish and chicken, not all beef and pork. Not that those are bad, but in moderation.
Sure.
And I don't want to get in trouble with the beef and the pork communities. But then, most of them can't afford fresh fruit, grapes and bananas and cabbage and all of those things. And a lot of our communities don't even know how to cook some of those foods. So we try to provide that, not just here it is, but also here's some recipes in different ways that you can use these that are still part of your cultural eating, because that's a big part of it too. So for us, the nutrition is key, and doing that through our pantry has always been our model. And it really is the right model for the families that we serve.
Absolutely. And I know you depend on donations, and you got a generous donation recently from Bank of America. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
I want to thank you for the investment of $400,000. $400,000. Did anyone hear me say that? That is 1.6 million meals for Crossroads, because for $1 we can create 4 meals here. And giving 21 meals per person means that in a given year we're going to be able to give 76,000 plus meals with just your gift alone. And that is significant in number. But what is even more significant is the work of Crossroads as a convener in this ecosystem of food insecurity, where we and you, every time you drive a forklift, you build a box, you walk through the store, you are making a difference in the life of an individual, a family, a household, a neighborhood, a community, and the city of Dallas.
Wow, that's impressive. Was your heart kind of beating?
It was a great day. I'm just going to say that. It was a great day when we found out that they were doing the campaign and they had selected Crossroads as one of the beneficiaries. I was like, Bank of America selecting us to make this huge gift to. But at the time, we didn't know what it was. And then they came back and said $400,000. We were like, well, come on down. It was great. And to have the mayor come out and really see firsthand the work that we were doing just beyond distributing food was really impactful. But it's also great because now we've got a new really strong partner in Bank of America. We're going to be working with them in their financial literacy program as part of some ongoing work that we're doing with our research team. So it was just an exciting day, but it was really great to tell the story, the impact of our work and our partners.
Tell us about kind of the need and the outlook for the rest of the year. What are you seeing? Are you seeing more families than ever before?
Well, I'll tell you, I drove up to the warehouse earlier this week, and it was the longest line I've seen in a year of my being there.
Wow.
And we were trying to figure out what's going on. And as the inflation increases, it's driving more people to us. So You know, that is a significant issue. When we think about maybe you and I paying $4 a gallon for gas, we might be able to skirt away with that. But for another family, that's all the money they had. So we're just seeing those types of prices bring more people to us, as well as just food shortages.
Yes.
You know, so there's not as much food available at the store. We may not have it either, but the perception is that we do. And so we do anticipate seeing, just as our world continues to deal with present day events, how that trickles down and the impact it'll have on our clients is going to last.
And you've been in the non-profit arena for a long time. Talk about like just the generosity of Dallas-Fort Worth.
You know, I wouldn't want to be in another city.
Yeah, absolutely.
Philanthropically, Dallas is in the top 4 cities throughout the U.S. I mean, our folks here, there's a lot of wealth here, but there's a lot of sense of responsibility and accountability to make sure that we spread the wealth, and not just throw it out there, but being really intentional about partnering with organizations to invest. And that's a really important part of philanthropic giving. It's okay to give $100 here and there. We need that. Please don't stop doing it. I want to make sure everybody knows that. But where you have the ability, it's kind of that lovely Spider-Man line with great, what is it?
Something comes great
responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, with great, whatever it is. It's awesome.
Send us an email.
Yeah, let us know what the
put it
line
in the chat.
actually is. But you know, our donors really take that seriously in Dallas, and I'm proud of that. I'm a proud Texan, and I'm from Houston. I'll say that low because you know how that goes. But it's just really a proud thing to be a part of a community that believes in
Sure.
giving back.
Okay, final thoughts, Benaye. What would you like to leave the audience with?
There is a solution to this. If food insecurity is the inconsistency of food and nutritious food, then the consistency by nature is the answer. And we've learned that. Crossroads has figured that out. We've figured out a way to partner that with benefits and really help our families get what they need and get more stable. So we are working to build nutrition stable communities, one individual, one family at a time. And we really believe with our partners and with our investing philanthropic communities, our friends in the news like you,
Thank you.
we're going to be able to get there and start seeing over the next few years some traction in seeing communities reverse that food insecurity.
Amen. Let's leave them with the website. What is it again?
The website is ccsdallas.org.
Outstanding. Benaye, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Jeff.
And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.